Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Journey to Happiness. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Comment below if y'all feeling this angle or not. I brought this little I don't think you would call it a tripod, but this thing is supposed to hold my phone so I can set it on my thing on my car, but it's not working right. So I got it doing this. Let me know. I just want y'all to be able to hear what I'm saying. That's the main thing. So that's why I'm talking kind of loud, because I've never had the camera this far away from me before. But anyway, this is going to be part 2 of the most toxic job I've ever had. If you haven't seen part 1, be sure to watch that. So I'm just gonna get right into it. First I'm gonna name a few facts about the job, and why it was toxic. I might have talked about a few of these things in my last video. Then we're gonna talk about Miss Tamika, and everything in this video is alleged. So for one thing, at this job I had to find my own coverage and could not call out no matter what. Yes, y'all. At this job, we had to find our own coverage. So if we were sick or for whatever reason, if we needed to call out, we couldn't make it for our scheduled shift, there was a rule that we had to have like a list. We had a list of all of our coworkers' phone numbers, and it was our responsibility to call each coworker and find our own coverage. I remember one time, the only time I needed to call out, I think I got like some kind of virus or something. And so I let the manager know, and she was like, yeah, you got to find your own coverage. So I looked down the list of all the names, everybody, and I was calling and said, no, they can't do it, they can't do it, they can't do it. So I texted Carla. This was an older lady. Me and her were pretty cool. She worked the second shift, and I asked her because she worked for me, and she said yeah. So luckily, Carla worked for me. But so basically, like, literally, this should have been a red flag number 1, because in any job, it's the manager's responsibility to find scheduling and to make sure they have enough staff, not the worker. That's a manager duty, or somebody that's up higher, not no regular worker. Like, that's ridiculous to tell your employees that they have to find their own coverage if they need to call out. I shouldn't have even worked for a job that was saying anything like that. I don't know that should have been my first red flag. But yeah, so we had to find our own coverage. Another thing is favoritism, work cliques. There was a lot of favoritism. Basically, if you were friends with the med techs, because at this job, the med techs, they had a lot of power. I think that's one of the reasons why at this place, when people became a med tech, when they went from being a CNA to a med tech, they really got on a power trip. Because most in regular nursing homes, the nurses are kind of over the CNAs, but in this place, since the med techs are over the CNAs, and a lot of these med techs, so like I said, these were girls in their early 20s. I think it got to their head, that med tech title. It got to their head, and you couldn't tell them nothing. So if you were friends with the med tech, they're not going to write you up no matter what you do. But if you're not in the clique, and if you're not really friends with them like that, they kind of they would bully you, and you would get in trouble for stuff that their friends, their homegirls, wouldn't get in trouble for, if that makes sense. So a lot of favoritism, racist co-workers, and I'll make a video about that. I worked with some racist co-workers on third shift, and I'll go into more details about that in another video. Getting wrote up for things out of my control. All of these things I'll go into more detail about. Work bullies on first and third. First shift, they were the bullies, but there were also bullies on third shift that would bully me at work, like the med techs. I already said this one already. Med techs abusing their authority, and I putting first shift for duties on third shift. So I just wanted to name a few. How many minutes I'm at? All right. So now we're going to talk about Miss Tamika. Yeah. So when I first started working at this place, they actually trained me on first shift, right? And I was put with Linda my very first day. That's the same lady I talked about in my other video, last video. And then I met Tamika, and me and her looked like we were around the same age. So when I first saw her, I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe me and her could be friends. We're around the same age. Well, look, actually, it turns out she's like 5 years older than me, but it looked like we were around the same age. And she's, now I could be friends with anybody, but I thought maybe me and her could be cool at this job. But boy, was I wrong. So, basically, I'm just going to give y'all a bunch of different situations about me and Tamika. Tamika is very stuck up, very mean. She has a very bad attitude. I've been working different jobs for a long time, different nursing homes and things like that. And I know, when you're working at jobs, there's always going to be somebody that you might not necessarily get along with, or they may have a bad attitude or whatever. It is what it is. You're going to find that probably at every job, right? You're not going to get along with everybody that you ever work with. However, out of my years of working, I have never, ever met a bigger bitch than Tamika. Yes, I called her a bitch because that's what she was being, y'all. I'm sorry. That's what she was being. This girl, she was so snooty, disrespectful, and just for no reason. So I'm just going to tell y'all some different situations, right? She worked first shift. So I remember one time, this particular morning, Tamika was doing what you called transportation. So transportation is when like a person comes in, it could be a CNA or a med tech, as long as you have a driver's license, and they take the company's van and take residents to their doctor's appointments or even like special activities, right? They had a designated person that would normally do that, but if that person, if it wasn't their day to work or whatever, sometimes they would ask one of the CNAs if they had like an extra CNA or one of the med techs to do that for that day. So I get off at 7, right? And Tamika was that person that day that was going to take residents to their appointments or whatever, right? So we're going to call this resident Alice. Miss Alice has dementia, but she could talk, she could walk. I don't think she even used a wheelchair or a walker or anything. She could walk fine. But she's very stubborn. When you try to like check, see if she needs to be changed or get her dressed in the morning or anything like that, she's very stubborn. And pretty much you're not going to have Alice do anything that she does not want to do. That's that. If she don't want to do it, she'll hit you or she'll cuss at you. She's very stubborn. It's not too much talking into her. You can't really talk her into doing anything. That's just the way she is. Very stubborn, right? So Alice had a doctor's appointment that morning at like, I think 7:30, 8 o'clock. So she was on my assignment for that night. So that morning I'm doing everything I can to get Miss Alice dressed and ready for her appointment. Because if a resident has an appointment that early, it'll be third shift's responsibility to get them dressed and ready for their appointment. So they'll already be ready when the transport person comes and gets them, so they can go to their appointment on time. So I'm doing my best. It took me like 30 minutes to finally let me get her dressed and washed up right. No, actually, let me backtrack. This is what happened. I think I got her to take a bath, and I'm trying to get her. No, this is what happened. I'm sorry, y'all. Remember, this was 10 years ago. Now I remember. I got her dressed and stuff. That took a long time to convince her to do that. But she wouldn't get out of bed. When it was time to go, I couldn't. She laid back down, right? And for the life of me, I could not get her to, get up and get out of bed to go walk to the front. And I'm doing my, and to get her shoes on, I'm doing my best. She ain't having it. And like I said, she has dementia, so she may not fully understand what's going on, what I'm trying to tell her about her appointment. So 7 o'clock comes, right? Now, Tamika, she normally doesn't do transportation. This is just for a day. She comes in. The first thing, she looks at Amanda, because Amanda's the first person that she sees. You got Alice ready for her appointment? Amanda was like, oh, I didn't have that assignment. And she was like, oh, who had it, Joanna? So she comes down the hall. You got Alice ready for her appointment? I said, I'm trying. I can't convince her to get out of bed. You know she had an appointment. Why didn't you get her up to go? That's stupid. You know she had a doctor's appointment. Why didn't you get her up? Dumb fucking bitch. Are you deaf, Tamika? Sweetie, are you deaf? Are you mentally challenged? Something wrong with you? I literally just said, I'm doing everything that I can, but I just can't get this woman to get out of the bed. That's what I said, pretty much. Obviously, I cannot physically force Miss Alice to get out of bed. I can't try to, and Miss Alice is strong anyway, so she could probably knock me out. I don't know. Just because she an old lady don't mean she ain't strong, okay? But I can't physically force her to get out of bed. You know why? Because that's called abuse. Then you're going to get me for abuse. So you can try to talk to her. That's not what I said, but that's what I should have said. This is before I started taking up for myself. So I'm just letting Tamika talk shit to me, basically, at work. This is crazy. Why didn't you get up? I'm like, oh. So that's just one incident, right? There's several more, to name a few. I remember one time she had my assignment, right? Because like I told y'all, at this job, they are very strict about doing rounds with the upcoming shift. So you literally cannot leave until you do a round with whoever's taking over your assignment. So I see, and I remember when I would look in the morning to see who's going to have my assignment, because the schedule would already be up for first shift, and I would dread whenever I saw Tamika. Now there was some, like Linda and stuff, there was some other co-workers that were bitches to me too, but Tamika was the worst one. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew her attitude, right? So whenever I would look at to see who's going to have my assignment in the morning, I saw it was Tamika. I dreaded it. I really did. I dreaded it. So I remember, let me see how much time I'm at. Okay. So I remember she was talking to one of the med techs named Kim on first shift, just gossiping, talking or whatever. It was 7 o'clock, right? So I walked up to Tamika. I walked up to Tamika. All I said was, do you have, I think it was 200 Hall, something like that. Do you have 200 Hall? That's all I said, y'all. This bitch literally rolled her eyes at me. Like she not half rolled, like she literally rolled her eyes at me, and all I did was ask her, do you have 200 Hall? She rolled her eyes at me and said, yeah. And I forgot what else she said. I said, well, you want to do a round? And she had said something smart about her mouth. I don't remember exactly what she said. And she just stood there. I'm like, and I'm just standing like, okay, what do I do? Like, I gotta go because they want me off the clock by 7:05. So I just left. I didn't do a round with Tamika that morning because at this point, it's getting to the point where I'm sick of this bullshit, this bad attitude for no reason. I ain't do this shit to the bitch. I don't know Tamika outside of work. My first time ever meeting Tamika was at this job. I've never met her before. I don't know her. I don't know anybody that's related to her. So I literally, at the time, I had no idea why this girl was so hateful towards me. I had no idea. Like, seriously. You would think I was sleeping with her boyfriend or something. The way she was acting towards me at this job. Like, because I was so nice to her, so I just didn't understand it. So that's another incident. Another one I remember, let's see. She had my assignment that morning, and we're doing the round, and I didn't know they had this new rule about to make sure you finish all the laundry, because at assisted living places, the CNAs have to do laundry. There's not really like a laundry staff like at nursing homes. And I didn't know it was some kind of rule, and she was like, well, how come you didn't do the laundry? You do this, and then I'm like, oh my god. So there was another time, and I remember this one time, y'all. Me and Tamika were doing a round. I knew she hated me the way I just knew for no reason, I knew she hated me. So me and her did not talk. We just literally went straight down the hall, and she checked everybody's diaper or brief, whatever you want to call it, to see if they were wet or not, and that's it. Me and Tamika did not. When I say Me and her did not speak one word to each other, like literally. I want y'all to imagine my CNAs. Imagine doing a round with somebody, and y'all don't even say hey, like y'all don't exchange a word. Imagine how awkward that is. But I'm not gonna say nothing because it's like, what's the point in trying to talk to Tamika? What's the point? And we didn't say one word to each other, and it was just it was so crazy. Like, and I never understood why this girl was so mean to me. Like, but here's the thing, and I told y'all this about bullies. The thing is about bullies, they bully people who they view as weak, or people who they think they can walk over. Because the thing is, Tamika, everybody knew she had a bad attitude, but she didn't have an attitude with everybody at the job. She only had an attitude with me. I remember there was this one girl named Amber. She worked second shift. She was a nice girl. I think she was kind of quiet like me. Tamika would kind of bully her. There's this other girl named Pam. She was kind of quiet too. She would bully her. What I'm saying is, Tamika, she knew who she could bully and who she couldn't bully. Because them girls on first shift, the ones that she worked with that was in that clique, I never saw her get an attitude with them. Ever. I never saw her say anything out the way that was even remotely disrespectful to them or anything like that. And I told another coworker, I was like, she's so mean to me. But sometimes when I see her interact with other co-workers, she be talking to them girls just as nice. Like, she a whole different person. Like, what the hell? And Janice, she was another lady that worked at the job. She was like, yeah, because she knows who she can talk to like that and who she can't. So that's what I said. Well, same thing like at a school, right? When you think of, who bullies at a school. Okay, bullies, they don't bully the whole school, do they? No, they can't bully the whole entire school. Bullies bully who they know they can bully, who they know who they can get away with bullying or not. Now, if Tamika tried that shit with me today, that bitch would have another thing coming. I promise you. Okay? And I'm calling her that, y'all, not because she deserves it. I'm sorry. If y'all just knew how disrespectful this girl was to me for no reason. So yeah, I remember one time we were having a staff meeting, and there were no more, the only seat, I got there kind of like, I was the last person to get there, right? We would have staff meetings every time we got paid. And another thing about this job, by the way, we were not allowed to pick up our paychecks until 2 o'clock. So, when we got paid on payday, yeah, we couldn't, get our paychecks until 2 o'clock. And that should have been another red flag right there. And y'all, just imagine like working second shift and you can't get your paycheck until 2 o'clock. That was another red flag. But anyway, so like I was saying, I was like the last person that showed up at this meeting, right? So there was only one more seat available, like because they had the meetings in like the dining area. The only seat that I saw was beside Tamika. So I sat beside her, and like I told you, I'm really good at reading like a body language and just the energy. And the energy that I got from her was like, oh, I don't want this girl sitting beside me. I don't want this bitch sitting beside me. And there was another worker. Her name was Jayetta. She was a med tech. Jayetta started laughing, and she's too old for this because she's like at least at this time I'm like 19 years old, and Jayetta is like in her 30s, maybe her early 40s, and she's just laughing like something's funny, and she's looking at Tamika, and Tamika's looking back at her, and I knew they were talking about me. They were talking without talking. They was talking about me, like, oh, why she sit beside me, So yeah, but here's the thing about Tamika, and I'm not saying this to bring her down or nothing. This is just facts. Because the way Tamika was, and I'm not going to take this away from her. She was a very pretty girl. She's very pretty. But her attitude makes her ugly as fuck. So you would think, because she's also very, like, kind of stuck up, very snooty-like. Like, I remember one time somebody, or I'm going to give y'all another thing. I remember one time, this is one of the few times I worked second shift. I think Rita had asked me could I work second shift for that day, and I agreed to it. So second shift, they do things a little bit different. So we were about to pass the snacks out, and I go to the kitchen to get the snack cart. And now y'all, this is a long time ago, so I don't remember the exact thing I had asked her, but I had a question, and Tamika was the only person right there. So I'm like, oh God, I gotta ask this bitch. So I don't remember the exact question, but I said, Tamika, do I need to get this or something? Like I said, I don't remember the exact question, but I asked her. She paused for like 30 seconds, like she wasn't going to answer me. Then she finally said yeah, or whatever she had answered, right? And I knew it's like she didn't want to talk to me. Like, bitch, I'm not trying to make no conversation with you. Just answer the fucking question, okay? Am I supposed to put the snacks here? Whatever I was asking her, she could have just said yes or no. That's all she had to say. She paused for 30 seconds. But I think her doing that was her way of letting me know, like, you know I don't fuck with you, bitch. That 30-second pause is her way of letting me know I don't want to talk to you. I hate you. Like, this girl, Alex, she hated me. I don't know why, though, y'all. Let me tell you something. So you would think the way Tamika is so stuck up, snooty, mean, you would think she just had her whole life together. Like, bitch, because basically the way she treated me was like she's up here and I'm all the way down here. Like, she's Queen B, Beyonce, and I am Michelle. No offense to Michelle, but you know what I'm saying? You would think she had her whole life together, you know. So it turns out she doesn't. Turns out her baby daddy was beating her ass. His name was Niels. I don't know his real name, but that's what they call him. One time he dropped their kids off while she was at work, while Tamika was work on the clock. They were having some kind of argument. I don't know what about. And he dropped the kids off at her job. So she had to clock out, you know, and go home. And yeah, he left her. She had a black eye. Also, she does not have custody of any of her kids except for one. She has a daughter that's like, by now her daughter's probably like 13, but she has a daughter, by one man. Then she had another daughter by Niels. That daughter went into foster care because I think Niels would beat her ass in front of the daughter or something like that. So that child got put into foster care, and actually that child got adopted. So she doesn't have custody of that baby. She had another baby by this other dude. Turned out he was like on drugs and stuff. They're not together. Then she just had a baby like a year ago by this other dude that she married, and he ain't doing shit either. So I say this to say, you would think, you know, her life was perfect. The way she talked down on me, the way she, you know what I'm saying, you would think she must be perfect. She got to be. The way she talked to me like I ain't shit. No, that's not the way it is. And I heard somebody say, you know, bullies, they bully people because lots of times when you have like work bullies, they bully people at work because their home life is so fucked up. When they're at home, they have no power. You know what I'm saying? And that could be true, you know, because like she would come to, and I always wondered that now, because now that I think about it, Tamika used to always wear a lot of makeup at work, which is nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people, like she would be fully glammed up, like as far as makeup. And it turns out she did that to cover up her bruises. She's a light skin, so you know bruises on her is going to show up easily. So she would wear a lot of makeup to cover her bruises up. So yeah, she was getting her ass beat at home, and that's why I guess she called herself like kind of mentally beating my ass. Like, you have no power at home, so you're going to take it out on me at work. And there's a lot of instances where she was disrespectful to me. This is just to name a few, because this video is getting so long. That's how I knew I had to make a whole separate video just about Tamika. But yeah. Oh, and I remember she worked 2 jobs too. She worked at the assistant living place, and she worked at this pizza place, right? And I remember she would tell Mandy, this is one of the people that she would not get an attitude with, because Mandy would not play that shit. She was telling Mandy, you know, all she does is work, you know what I'm saying? She's tired of working. She works 16-hour shifts and this and that. So it's like, oh, okay, oh, her life isn't all together, you know what I'm saying? So that's not my fault, you know what I'm saying? Pick a better baby daddy. that doesn't make you work so much. I don't know. Don't take it out on me. So she doesn't have custody of any of her kids except for one, and she has the little girl, another boy. So she has a total of 4 kids, but she only has custody of one. She has 4 kids by 4 men. Hold on. The Mexican guy, black guy's Niels, the white guy, and then so she has 4 baby daddies by 4 4 kids by all different fathers. And I don't say this to put her down or nothing, but it's like, you would think, like I said, I thought, before I knew all this, I thought her life must be perfect. The way she talks shit to me, she must have it going on. But no, she don't. And I remember one time, this is way after I stopped working at that place. She went back to the pizza place to work as a waitress, right? And I was so shocked. I went there, I made it to go work. Because that place, they make some good ass pizza. So I went there to eat some pizza, right? And it was Tamika. And you know what? I should have been like, you know what? Everything's wrong. This pizza's not right. You know, you ain't making this right. No, but no, I didn't do all that. But that's what I should have done. Because that's basically what she did when we would do a round together. I remember there was another time, because when me and her would do a round together, she would complain about everything. And I remember this lady, she pulled down to see her brief. So, oh, you gotta change her. She's wet. She went down the hall to check the other people. I looked back. Do y'all know that lady was not wet? Like, literally, her brief was not wet at all. At all. So I don't know if she got some issues or what, but yeah. So that's Miss Tamika. I'm sure I have other stories with her in it, but this is just what I wanted to tell y'all about. Oh my god, these videos are getting longer and longer, so stay tuned for part 3, and I'll see y'all next time.